Pilot Jim had flown this approach dozens of times. The weather was perfect, the runway was in sight, and everything looked routine. Then, a heavy jet landed just ahead of him. 30 seconds later, his airplane rolled so violently that the right wing dropped toward the runway. One invisible mistake nearly turned a normal landing into an accident. Pilot Jim was flying his Piper Archer into a busy Class C airport on a calm afternoon. The tower cleared him to land behind a Boeing 767 that had just touched down. Piper 562 Juliet, runway 27, cleared to land. Caution, wake turbulence, landing traffic is a Boeing 757. Jim acknowledged the clearance, but in his mind he thought, the jet is already on the runway, I'll be fine. That assumption almost cost him. As he turned onto final, he noticed the 767 slowing far ahead. Everything looked normal. But wake turbulence doesn't care what you can see. Every airplane generates wingtip vortices, and large aircraft create powerful rotating columns of air that sink several hundred feet below their flight path before slowly drifting outward. On calm days, those invisible vortices can remain dangerous for much longer than many pilots expect. Jim continued descending on the same glide path the jet had flown only moments earlier. At about 50 feet above the runway, the Archer suddenly lurched. The right wing dropped hard. The controls felt heavy as the airplane rolled toward the runway. Jim immediately applied opposite aileron, added a burst of power, resisted the urge to overcorrect, and implemented a go-around. The lesson learned. While climbing out, Jim replayed the event. He realized the mistake wasn't that he ignored the wake turbulence warning. The mistake was believing that simply following behind the airplane was safe. On the next approach, he changed his strategy. He stayed slightly above the heavy jet's approach path, touched down well beyond where the 767's main wheels had contacted the runway, and landed without incident. That's exactly what instructors teach. Stay above the larger aircraft's flight path on approach. Land beyond its touchdown point whenever runway length allows. If you're unsure where the wake is, or encounter unexpected turbulence, go around. A go-around is almost always safer than trying to salvage a bad landing. Lesson learned. Wake turbulence is invisible. It doesn't show up on weather radar. It doesn't appear on your GPS. And it doesn't care how many hours you have. One good decision can keep an invisible hazard from becoming a very visible accident. Have you ever encountered a serious wake turbulence experience? Comment and tell us what happened. I would love to get your perspective. My name is Dan, and if you enjoy real-world pilot stories that make you a safer pilot, subscribe to My Student Pilot, because the next lesson could be the one that saves your life. Also, visit mystudentpilot.com for pilot training advice, career advice, and flight training financing advice, along with more real-world pilot survival tips that could save your life.